Oh wait, let me BRB. Hey guys, it is the end of March, so that means it is another time for roundups. I don't know if you guys have been seeing a trend lately, but I think ever since January there's been less and less like beauty products and a lot more of books and podcasts and all of that. And that's kind of where I want to go in the future. First, I want to talk about two beauty products that I didn't like. The first one is a concealer by Revlon. This is the Revlon Colorstay Concealer, and I have the color light medium. I've tried this in so many ways, with no foundation, with powder foundation, with liquid foundation, setting it, don't set it. I've tried it for my under eyes, everywhere else. Use it as like a base highlight. It just accentuates your fine lines, and it also becomes flaky throughout the day. Like every time I wear this product, I'm like, oh my god, this is disgusting. I can't believe I put this on. The second one is this guy, which I only recently bought. I probably also bought this month. Milani's Amore Matte Metallic Lip Cream in the color Automattic Touch. It is a beautiful color. Look at that. But when it dries down, it becomes so dry it hurts my lips. And also, say if you wanted to double up on this color, right? You would have to actually wait for this guy to dry down and then put on another layer, because otherwise you're just moving the product around and it's not really sticking. I'm just not a fan of this guy. Alright, everything else is great products. I just finished using this guy up. This is the Garnier Skin Active Micellar Cleansing Water. So if you don't know what a micellar cleansing water is, it effectively removes makeup, cleanses skin, and refreshes. A multi-purpose cleanser that contains micellar technology. Like a magnet, micelles capture and lift away dirt, oil, and makeup without harsh rubbing, leaving skin perfectly clean and refreshed without over-drying. If you do wear makeup and you don't use a micellar cleansing water, I would suggest to put this into your skincare routine. You can use this, and then you can do a double cleanse with like a regular foaming cleanser or whatever, like your daily cleanser. Alright, the next thing is, it's kind of weird. I think my roommate Jin, who moved to Miami, she bought this pack of rice and she left it there. And I made it one day and I ate it and I was like, oh my god, it's so delicious. Jasmine rice bits. So if you think of jasmine rice, normally the grains are kind of long. This one is chopped up into little pieces. But then when you make it, it tastes really fluffy, and it's like, it tastes like really fluffy quinoa. It's just like light and airy, and it tastes so good. The first podcast is from Freakonomics, and it's called Here's Why All Your Projects Are Late and What to Do About It. I just found this very relatable, especially for anyone who's working in a project setting, like whether you're a construction worker, a project manager in a technology company, a project manager in any kind of company, even in the fashion industry, even if you're working on projects for yourself, this is very applicable to you. The best story was in New York, they wanted to redo like an 8-block subway section, and it took them more than 40 years to finish it. So they go into the details like, why? How does it happen? What should you do? So it's a very interesting podcast in my opinion. The next one is the Armchair Expert podcast, and that's the one with Dax Shepard. This is his interview with Jimmy Kimmel. I feel like ever since Jimmy started speaking up about doing the right thing, it's made him more relatable. Now, I'm not the one to know every celebrity's story from beginning to end. Also, I find it harder to relate to a person's story if I don't hear them talk about their own experiences. I think that's what makes people so relatable, is if you talk to them and you feel that connection with them. And I got that with Jimmy Kimmel through this episode. The next podcast is also an Armchair Expert podcast with Ellen DeGeneres. Same thing, I did not know that Ellen DeGeneres was like the first lesbian celebrity to speak out about it, and a lot of people they credit being okay with coming out of their shell because of Ellen DeGeneres. That was a shock to me. I love her show. She has a lot of great segments and she sees the good in a lot of people, so I'm really happy about that. And it's another one of those things where you just learn more about her and you really get to feel that connection. Alright, I have 3 books. Are you ready? The first one is by Trevor Noah called Born a Crime, Stories from a South African Childhood. Trevor Noah is currently the host of The Daily Show. He was born and grew up in apartheid. The things that he's had to go through, It's crazy. It was very unimaginable. I highly recommend you guys to go read this book. If you are a fan of Audible or you're like okay with listening to books, definitely take it up on Audible because he narrates his own story, which gives that whole more relatable aspect to it. And also his accent is beautiful. I did get to see his I'm choking on my love for him. I did get to see Trevor Noah's stand-up comedy special. I flew over to Denver for it, and he's just amazing. I feel like every little thing I learn about him, I'm just like, I love you so much more, Trevor. Trevor. The second book is by Tiffany Haddish, and it's called The Last Black Unicorn. I also listened to that one on Audible, and Tiffany Haddish narrates her own story, and it's just, whew, comedians, man. I remember I was reading a book a long time ago. I forget what it was called, but it was just a collection of interviews of comedians. And somebody was saying that a lot of comedians, they become comedians because they take their struggles or like their hardships and they try to find the good aspect of it. The aspect where they can laugh and enjoy and relax a little bit. Tiffany Haddish definitely does that because that girl went to hell and back. Holy crap. If you haven't watched Tiffany Haddish's movie, Girls Trip, definitely watch it. She is freaking hilarious. The last book that I want to recommend is Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult. And I bought this book when I was in Denver and I finished it in less than 24 hours because the story was that good. It's written in 3 voices. You have Ruth, who's an African-American nurse, Kennedy, who is her white public defender, and then you have, let me do a quick search real quick, Turk, who is a white supremacist, and he has a baby. And Ruth is the nurse who's on call. He tells personnel that he doesn't want Ruth to touch his baby ever again. And there was a situation where Ruth is the only person around and the baby dies. Yeah. I think it's a very gripping story. To give a little bit of perspective though, Jodi, she is a white author, and this story, it's about race. And race is always a difficult subject to tackle. She did put in years and years of effort into understanding both sides. Not even both sides, but like people of all mindsets. She's tried to understand people of all mindsets in order to create this story. There were parts of it that made me cry. There were parts that touched me, and I say that because I feel like as an Asian person, as an Asian American, I'm kind of like lost in this melting pot of American society, which is great because we are a melting pot. But whenever we do talk about race in our country, it's always white versus black versus Hispanics versus Latinos, and then at the end we're just like, oh yeah, like Asian. So that's why I feel like we're under the radar. And so I've always struggled to understand what my perception of race is. I'm getting off topic. This book is a great book. I handed it over to Jin before she went to Miami, and she just kept on reading it, and she goes, I can't stop. It's that amazing. So definitely give it a read. So yeah. Some other great highlights of March. I went to Denver earlier this month. I made a 3-part video series on it. The first 2 parts are already out. I think the 3rd video will be out after this video. I also went to Vermont with Christine and Daniel, my 2 friends, and it was one hell of an adventure. And that video, when I'm editing it, I'm just like, oh my god, I'm kind of embarrassed, but it was a great trip. I learned how to ski better. Go check out that video because that's also going to be live. I'm going to attach all of the cards here, I believe, and also include them in the description box below. But that's basically my March. It's been wonderful. I have to go get my laundry out of the dryer. Nope, I don't use the dryer. I use the washer. I actually hang dry my clothes in my room just because I know that I know that dryer sucks, so I don't want to waste money on it. Yeah. Alright, see you guys later. My name is Juliet. With a nugget of chua.